had to be the story of the day here.
That's it.
Thank you very, very much. And I'm delighted to be here with my House counterpart, Chairman Rob Wittman of Virginia, the Chairman of the House Sea Power Subcommittee. My name is Roger Wicker from Mississippi, and I'm Chairman of the subcommittee over here in the Senate. Thrilled that Rob could come over and join us in the Senate press gallery today. Rob will return the favor next time, and if there are further press opportunities, we'll do it over on your side. But suffice it to say, we have a serious threat situation that we haven't faced in the previous decades. China is asserting itself as we've never seen before in the Asia Pacific. Of course, we all know the situation with regard to North Korea. Iran is continuing to act in a hostile way toward United States interest in our security, Russia, and then there are the non-state actors. We continuously, as a Congress, ask the Defense Department to assess the situation. We authorize them to give us a requirement, and in recent months, they've come back to us with a new requirement based on the threats that we have, and they've told us that the requirement for the size of our Navy fleet is 355 ships. They've also testified in hearings, both in a classified setting, but also in public, that the need is urgent, that they take it seriously. They mean it when they say it's 355 ships as a minimum requirement. And also we've had information not only about the need because of the urgent threat, but also happily we have an industrial capability that can begin to get us to where we want to go in the next decade and a half to 2 decades. And also we've had hearings on how this can be done. So I'm happy today to be here with Chairman Wittman and to say that we are introducing today the SHIPS Act, which would codify this requirement as the policy of the United States of America to build the 355 ships as soon as practicable with the appropriate mix and, of course, subject to appropriation and authorization by the United States Congress as signed by the President. This is a bicameral approach, and this is a bipartisan approach. I'm happy to say we now have 16 co-sponsors in the United States Senate and counting. And I think it's significant to say that Senator Hirono, my ranking member on the Sea Power Subcommittee, has co-sponsored this act, and that we now have as co-sponsors every Republican and Democratic member of the Senate Sea Power Subcommittee. So we're off to a good start. We are serious about doing this. We're serious about giving the Navy, the Defense Department, the Chief of Naval Operations, the support that they need to achieve this ambitious step. And at this point, I'm happy to turn the microphone over to my friend from Virginia.
Roger, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Well, Senator Wicker, thank you so much. And what a great honor it is to introduce this bill today with our colleagues in the Senate from the Sea Power Subcommittee on the Senate Armed Services Committee, as well as members of the House Armed Services Committee, Sea Power Subcommittee. And I have also a bipartisan support for this bill on the House side with our ranking member, Mr. Courtney, and others on the Sea Power Subcommittee, as well as others on the House Armed Services Committee. We think that this is an extraordinarily important message to send, to communicate to the citizens across the nation, but also to the industry, who we will need to make sure that we get to the 355 ships. Today, we're at 274 ships. By any measure, not the place we need to be. As the Senator pointed out, there have been a number of evaluations about where our Navy needs to be in the future. whether it's the force structure assessment done by the Navy to independent evaluations, all point to a number north of 355 ships. If you were to take just the demand from our combatant commanders across the world, the Navy should be north of 600 ships and should have 17 or more aircraft carriers as part of that. That is a significant thing to keep in mind as to the threats around the world and the demand that it creates for U.S. presence there. And remember, U.S. naval presence is the ability for us to project power and influence around the world. So it's not just about being able to engage in conflict, it's about being able to make sure that we are effective diplomatically and that we can respond on a humanitarian basis when necessary around the world. We cannot do that without a Navy fleet of at least 355 ships, and we can't get there overnight. The Congressional Budget Office analyzed how quickly we could get to 355 ships, and in the best case scenario, it's in the 20 to 25 year range. Now, we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to try to get there sooner. The Navy is looking at other opportunities. So it's not just about building new ships, it's also about maintaining the ships that we have today, maybe extending the life of certain ships that we have in inventory. All of those questions need to be asked because we do not have the luxury of time. Our adversaries are quickly outpacing us with naval capacity, and it's not just a single adversary like we had during the Cold War of Russia. Today, it is Russia, it is China, it is North Korea, it is Iran. Add those threats up, and we see a significant impact in demand for what the United States needs to have available to make sure we counter those forces around the world. I think it's critical that we aggressively send the message out to the Navy, to the nation, to the industry, that this is charting the course that we are on, and we must get to that 355 ships, and we must get there as quickly as possible. The Congressional Budget Office points out that the capacity is there within the industry, but the industry has to know that the nation is serious about building these ships because it's not just the shipbuilders, it's the suppliers that are located in all 50 states that have to be part of this team, the Congress, the Navy, the nation, the industry, to make sure we get to that 355 ships. So today is a statement of purpose, but it's a statement that sends a clear message that this is where we need to be as a nation. And in order to make sure we do what is necessary to defend this nation, to defend our interests, and to have the capability and capacity necessary, 355 ships is a must. And the Ships Act states that clearly, and I believe sets the right course for us in the years to come to have the Navy and Marine Corps that this nation needs.
Great. Well, just stay up here, Rob, and there may be a question or two. Yes, ma'am.
Senator, can you speak to the cost of this and the reality of getting Congress to pay for it, fund it, and what does it mean for Mississippi?
Well, I think it starts with repealing sequestration and being realistic about if you're going to meet the threat, then we are going to have to pay for this. As Rob said, we need to think outside the box. The good news, and I appreciate the Navy engaging in that, and industry is working with us in thinking outside the box, but it will indeed cost more, and we're talking not just in terms of shipbuilding. This is going to require more sailors. It's going to require more maintenance, more ammunition, more aircraft. We intend for these ships to be fully functional. And yes, it does help. It does help in terms of our economy. So let's say this. We know from what we need to do this year that we are fully capable of paying for the first step under our current plans. After that, I certainly hope the economy grows, and I hope we take the responsible steps as a Congress that will get us to the point of paying for this in the long run. But the first year, we feel that we're there.
Yes.
Senator, can you expand upon what you were talking about with how this would affect the economy specifically in Mississippi? I know it's a big shipbuilding state.
Well, no question about it. We do get a twofer. And let me stress, we're talking about protecting the nation and allowing commerce to go unfettered around the globe. That's really what we're talking about. But yes, the added benefit is thousands and thousands of new manufacturing jobs. And the component parts actually come from almost all of the 50 states, not just the shipbuilding, not just the ones who have the shipyards, but they're literally tens of thousands of component parts that come from everywhere. So yes, we're happy to help the manufacturing base also, but this is about national security first and foremost.
You both have talked about starting in FY18 and been unhappy with the 8 or 9 ships that the Pentagon proposed. Can you say how many you are planning to put in the NDAA this year?
Well, I'll speak for the House side, and today we will release our markup for the House Sea Power and Projection Forces Subcommittee, and I will make sure that I don't steal the thunder of what happens in our subcommittee when that comes out today, but I think that folks will find that we are well north of the now 9 ships that the administration proposes, and it will be the right mix of ships. So it'll be across all classes and all the future needs, whether it's submarines, aircraft carriers, destroyers, amphibious ships, support ships. We will have a good mix and balanced mix there, and I think folks will look at it and see that it is a very, very aggressive plan. And as the senator said, it takes the necessary first big step down the road of getting to 355.
That question is a real good try. As you know, we do have a bit of a constraint about us in terms of the subcommittee mark. We hope to get our subcommittee mark maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, and then we'll be marking in the full committee next week if we can have some accommodation with our friends across the aisle in terms of the health care debate going on the floor. We want to help the administration get to better budget numbers that take care of our concerns about the long-term debt, but also at the same time do what we know we have to do and what we can do, making the numbers sensible in protecting the nation. So you'll see specifics, I hope, before the 4th of July break. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. And thank you, Congressman.
Senator, thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's
thank
get
you,
going.
Mr. Chairman. Absolutely. We're all in.
Good.
Full speed ahead.
Favoring seas.
That's right. And darn the torpedo. That's right. That's right.